So yesterday we have seen about your climate changes, the climate change conferences which was held, the basic things in the climate change. What is the greenhouse effect? What is global warming? What is the difference between greenhouse and global warming and how they lead to climate changes? And also we have seen the two important conferences in UNFCCC, United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Changes. One is Kyoto Protocol, the other is your Paris Agreement. The Kyoto Protocol tells about three things: emission trading, clean development mechanism, and joint implementation. Paris Agreement tells about your INDC, Intended National Determined Contribution. In that, we have seen that in India, from India's perspective, National Action Plan for Climate Changes. In that, we have 12 missions we have seen yesterday. And also we have seen ozone depletion. What are the ozone depleting substances and which are the two important agreements which has been came out when Indian conference lead to Montreal Protocol, and after 2015, from 2016 onwards, Kigali Agreement is now in the place. Now the most important is UNFCCC conferences. United Framework on Convention on Climate Changes. Okay, what are the conferences that are held till now? Now recently the conference was held, COP, it is called Conference of Parties. Conference of Parties. Now recently there was a Conference of Parties which were held. See, Katowice, Poland. The COP24 is Katowice, Poland here. It is a Katowice, Poland, COP24. 2017 Bonn Conference in Germany, and Morocco COP22, COP21 Paris, COP20 Peru, Lima, COP19 Warsaw, Poland, COP18 Doha, Qatar, COP17 Durban, South Africa, COP16 Cancun, COP15 Copenhagen. So we need to remember last 10. So COP15 Copenhagen, Cancun, Durban, Doha, Warsaw, Lima, France, Morocco, Germany, and Poland. Katowice. COP24. Katowice, Poland. Now, what initiatives did India take? So, Katowice. See here, from India's perspective, how this COP24 helps. The Union Environment Minister, Dr. Harish Vardhan, participated from India's pavilion at 24th meeting United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change held in Katowice, KATO. Katowice. Katowice. The theme is one word, one sun, one grid. Very, very important. One sun. What is the theme for the COP24? One word, one sun, one grid. The minister launched a nationwide campaign in preserving and protecting the environment called Green Good Deeds Movement. The campaign was prepared to inspire, encourage, and involve each and every individual. India's leadership under Prime Minister Narendra Modi has Champions of Earth Award this year by the United Nations in promoting International Solar Alliance and resolving to make India's plastic free by 2022. So what is important is here two important things. One is Champions of Earth award was given to India for promoting international solar alliances and also resolving to make India plastic free. Plastic free. This is a Champions of Award which has been given to India. Champions of Award which has been given to Champions of Award this year for promoting international solar alliances and resolving India's plastic free by 20. What is Champions of Award? It was launched in the year 2005. Champions of the Earth, the United Nations highest environmental honor. Outstanding figures from public, private sectors and from civil society. Those actions has been transforming positive impacts on the environment. And COP24 United Nations ensure effective implementation on provision convention and regularly reviews the implementation of these provisions. You know that what is this? And also 7 points India made while committing to the Paris Climate Agreement. What are the 7 points? See here. India for reducing global warming, 7 points. We all agree that Paris Agreement is non-negotiable. Therefore, the delegate balance reached between development and developing countries must be retained, and the principle of such as equity and common but differentiated responsibilities and respective capabilities must be given its due. India said at ministerial session conference. It is said that outcome of WISE will be inclusion based on integrated package Paris Agreement. Most important, we must stand with poor. It also add time we focused on finding common grounds and supporting each other. Important to ensure equitable access to the global commons of all. We will continue to take a stock of pre-2020 action. The vulnerable population are the worst extremists due to the lack of resources to cope with them. So we need to protect them. Okay. So these are the important things that has been taking place in COP24. That is your Katowice, Poland. So this was your climate change conferences. Now the most important, I'll tell you about pollution. We come to pollution. Now we know that when we are talking about the pollution, the first and foremost thing we have to talk about Delhi pollution. Right now, in this Delhi pollution, Delhi comes under smog. What is smog? Fog plus smoke. Smoke is nothing but smog. Now, how the smoke is released? How the Delhi pollution is worst? Nothing but from the agriculture residues. Agricultural waste. Residues which are used, agricultural residues which are used, which are burned in Haryana, Punjab and Western UP, and due to which it is called stubble burning. Stubble burning. It is called stubble burning. Now, this stubble burning concept, and also the other things are vehicle pollutions, vehicle pollution, vehicle are causing pollutions, vehicular emissions. Other is construction activities, and also brick cleans, all these are one of the causes. What are the steps taken? That is your Bharat stage, odd and even rule, green Delhi, etc. The steps, these are been the steps which has been taken. Okay, we have already discussed in some these things. Now, recently, ban on polluting fuels. Supreme Court has banned on polluting fuels. What are the important ban which has been taken place? One is furnace oil, and the other is Petcoke. Petroleum coke. This is called as petroleum coke, which contains solid carbon rich 90% and 3 to 6% of sulphur. It is called as a bottom of barrel. Bottom of barrel. And also you know that it is a dirtiest alternative to the coal. It is a dirtier alternative to coal. So it is an alternative to the coal and emit 11% more greenhouse gas. 11% more greenhouse gases than your this thing. And also India is world biggest consumer of Petcoke. Biggest consumer of Petcoke. India is the biggest consumer of this Petcoke, and you know this Petcoke is generally emits, that is, has a higher calorific value. It has higher calorific value then coal, higher calorific value, and also it is approved in states like AP, Telangana, Gujarat and Karnataka. So that's why one more thing, that on this Petcoke generally, I will tell you furnace oil and then I will come furnace oil. This furnace oil is residual fuel obtained. It is a residual end product fuel obtained by blending of blending of crude oil. These residuals are obtained, and also the cheapest fuel available to generate. It is a cheapest fuel available to generate power, and also has higher calorific value. But you see here, why these two, Petcoke and furnace oil, is preferred is because on coal there are carbon tax and also cess is collected, but on these fuels there is no tax at all. That's why, but you know that they emit some, both this furnace oil and Petcoke emit large ppm of greenhouse gases, particulate matter, not particulate, parts per million. ppm is parts per million. So they emit larger ppms, and because of which there is a global warming. So we need to control them. That's why the Supreme Court has banned using of furnace oil. It has been banned in Delhi and other regions long ago. Okay. Now generally we have seen that firecrackers. In the firecrackers, government said that they are going to bring a green, that is a organic crackers, something where it will not pollute much, air pollution will not be that much. Recently the Ministry of Environment, Forest, Climate Change has said in one of the newspaper, by 2020 they are going to bring green bombs, nothing but greenery, which is not going to harm. Such kind of firecrackers they are going to bring. But last year and last before year, when you have seen, and also there are number of incidents which has taken place regarding your firecrackers. There was a sudden burst, many people have died in the firecracker units, and also Supreme Court has banned selling of firecrackers in and around NCR region, National Capital Region. And also in the last year 2018, they gave that only 2 hours permission for firecrackers. And in that scenario, what are the elements that are used in the chemicals that are used in the firecrackers and how they are going to harm our environment? Let us see. So the elements are, first is antimony, second is lithium, third is mercury, fourth is arsenic, fifth is lead. These are the elements which are used, and it has been banned by the Supreme Court. These elements has been banned. You know that who will be looking after these elements? There is a unit called PESO, called as Petroleum and Explosive Safety Organization. Petroleum and Explosive Explosives Safety Organization. Okay, which comes under Ministry of Commerce. Ministry of Commerce. So this body will look after your firecrackers. That is a ban. Next is about sulfur dioxide emission. Sulfur dioxide emission. Now, what are the causes? Recently, the report said that there is a increase of 50% in the sulfur dioxide emission into the air. Now, what is that? There are two types of resources. One is a natural resource. The other is through man-made resource. What is the natural resources? Sulfur dioxide is naturally obtained by volcanic eruption. And through man-made by coal, oil, gases, smelting of metals like copper, zinc, lead, etc. and other gases emitted by thermal power plants. So these are the sources. What is the impacts? And also your vehicles which are using this. What is the impact? Acid rain. Second one on health impacts will be there. Okay, what are the steps taken now? Steps taken by government. What are the steps? Government steps. First one, air quality index. Second one, cess on coal, around rupees 400 per ton. Third one is Bharat stage 4, and in the NCR region Bharat stage 6. Fourth one, emission norms were given for thermal power plants. Emission norms for thermal power plants. and also emission monitoring centers countrywide emission monitoring centers, right? So these are the steps taken by the government of India. Now about your nitrogen oxide emissions. What are the sources? You know that it is a largely present. 78% of the Earth's atmosphere consists of nitrogen oxide. What is the main source? From the agricultural source, then your sewages, organic solid waste, fourth one, these are the three sources. Now, what is the impact of nitrogen pollution? Impact. First one is food productivity will be lost, due to which it will arise to food security issues. Second one, polluting groundwater. Third one, there will be health impacts. Acid rains are caused. Eutrophication. Smog formation. Then also ozone layer depletion, and particularly by jet planes in the stratosphere. Now, what are the steps taken to control this government initiatives? First one is neem coated urea. Second one is soil health cards. Third step is nutrition based subsidy scheme, right? So these are the steps which has been taken, and also in the Kigali agreement, also Kyoto Protocol, in the Kigali agreement also they have taken the steps to eliminate this, right? Now about disaster management, about your disaster management. In this, we need to learn the definitions and some of the important conferences that has been held in the disaster management, who is responsible, and etc. Now, first of all, the changes is common law in the nature. The changes may be slow, the changes may be sudden. The slow changes gives rise to our physical features of your land: plateaus, plains, mountains. The sudden changes disrupt or disturb the humankind. From the past, Earth has been under severe stress of disaster. Natural disasters. So first of all, what is difference between, tell me, what is the difference between natural hazard natural disaster what is the difference between natural hazard and natural disaster? Tell me. Now, natural hazards, changes that affect the human adversely. Changes that affect human adversely is called natural hazards. Disasters are nothing but natural hazard become natural disaster when natural hazard becomes natural disaster when people's lives and livelihood are destroyed. Okay, natural disasters are sudden climatic events that seriously disrupt the functioning community or society and cause loss to economic, human life, livelihood, etc. And one more, there is a quotation, beautiful quotation, the secret of crisis management is not good versus bad. It's preventing the bad from getting worse. It's preventing the bad from getting worse. Is your crisis management. Secret of crisis management is not good versus bad. It's preventing the bad from getting worse. It is called disasters. It is one of the quotation. Now, what is vulnerability then? What is vulnerability? The extent to which community, structure, geographically is likely to be get affected or disturbed or impact due to the hazard. The extent to which a community, structure, services, or geographic units area is likely to be damaged by the impact of hazard, particular hazard. Generally it is measured in magnitude, destruction, and intensity. Magnitude, destruction, and intensity. Simply we can write hazard plus vulnerability plus incapacity leads to disaster. This is important. This thing leads to disaster. In this way you can quote it. This is hazard, this is vulnerable. E is exposure of element incapacity. Exposure element at risk. Vulnerability. This point is called disaster risk. Generally we can write in this way: x-axis, y-axis. This is your hazard and this is your vulnerability. This is your disaster. As the vulnerability increases, hazard increases, disaster increases. So this is about this thing. Now generally disasters are divided as two things. Disaster is divided as two things. Man-made disasters and natural disasters. The natural disasters are geophysical, nothing but earthquake, second landslides, third tsunami, fourth volcanic activities. Second is hydrological, through water. First is avalanches, nothing but ice. Second is about floods. Next one is related with climate. Related with climatology. Climatological. First is extreme weather, temperatures, nothing but heat waves, or cold waves. Second is drought. Third is wildfire. Now, biological disease epidemics. Biologically disease epidemic, animal plague, plagues, right? So these are natural, these ones. Man-made causes. Now, man-made disasters. First is conflicts, like first one, war, aggression. Third one is insurgency. Next is famine. First is drought. Second is floods. Next is displaced population. Next is industrial accidents. In that, Bhopal gas tragedy, Chernobyl gas tragedy, Chernobyl nuclear disasters. Next we have transport disasters. Here we can write that is your train accident, etc. and also stampede. Tokkisalata, stampede. Okay, these are man-made. Now, what should be the approach for disaster management? Approach for management of disaster. There are two things. Approach for disaster management. There are two things. One is post-disaster. The other is pre-disaster. The pre-disaster phase is first prevention, second mitigation. Third, preparedness. And in the post one, you have response, rehabilitation, third one, reconstruction. So this is about these things. So now we need to look at institutional mechanism. What is the institutional mechanism for disaster management? In 1990, the UN has declared the decade as Decade of Natural Disaster Reduction. Decade of Natural Disaster Reduction. For nothing but mitigation programs, insurances, prevention, national development program. So in that way, they started this national dedicate for national disaster reduction. And for this, in the Earth Summit 1992 Rio Earth Summit in Brazil, and also 1993 World Conference on 1994, there was a World Conference on disaster management at Yokohama. So Yokohama Conference lead to two things. One is Nagoya framework, nothing but 2005 to 2015. The other is about your Sendai framework, post 2015 onwards. So here some concrete steps were taken at Yokohama. Nothing but there will be a body to look after this natural disaster reduction called as UNISCR, United Nations International Strategy for Disaster, International Strategy for Disaster Reduction. Here the important objective is understanding the disaster risk, strengthening the governance, of DR. Third one, investment in DR, investment in DR. So actually in India, from Indian context, there is no place for disaster in 7th schedule of disaster reduction. It is wholesale responsibility of state governments with assistance from central government. So there is no place. Actually, now the recommendation made by, there are two recommendations which are made. One is second ARC and also second ARC PK Mishra committee and MN Venkat Chalaya. Plus second ARC wanted to place this disaster management in concurrent list, in the concurrent list of your this thing. So actually in the year 1995, what happened was, there was a National Center for Disaster Management called as NCDM was established, which was under Ministry of Agriculture. And in 2001 it was later on changed. This 2001 law, it has moved to Ministry of Home Affairs. 1999, on the wake of cyclone in Odisha, J.C. Pant recommended to set up Disaster Management Ministry. In 2001, on the wake of Gujarat earthquake, all party national committee on disaster management recommended for the creation of NDMA under MHA, National Disaster Management Authority. In 2004, on the wake of tsunami, enacted the Disaster Management Act 2005. So parliamentary approval was given. And now we will see the structure of this institutional structure. Here the top level decision making. Top level decision makings are two: Cabinet Committee on Securities, CCS, and also one more is that National Crisis Management Committee, okay, called as NCMC. And there is a National Disaster Management Institute mechanism. Overall coordination is given to MHA, and then we have NDMA. This is a nodal ministry. NDMA. Here we have National Executive Committee. Under this we have Armed Forces and CAPF, Central Armed Police Force. Here we have two things: National Institute of Disaster Management and National Disaster Response Force. This is a structure of your National Disaster Management. Who will take the toughest decision? This one. So what are the act which is there? Disaster Management Act 2005. And also we have made some disaster management rules in 2016 also. Some guidelines were proposed. So this is about your Disaster Management Authority.